Welcome to the Dental Team Podcast. I'm your host, Kira Dent, and I have this crazy idea that maybe I could combine a doctor and a team member's perspective because let's face it, dentistry can be a challenging profession with those two perspectives. I've been a dental assistant, treatment coordinator, scheduler, biller, office manager, regional manager, practice owner, and I have a team of traveling consultants where we have traveled to over 165 different offices coaching teams. Yep, we don't just understand you, we are you. Our mission is to positively impact the world of dental, and I believe that this podcast is the greatest way I can help elevate teams, grow VIP experiences, reduce stress, and create A-teams. Welcome to the Dental Team Podcast. Hello, Dental Team listeners. This is Kira, and you guys, you are so lucky today because today is Consultant Takeover Day. That's right. And I am so excited for you guys to hear from Tiff and Brit. They are going to be talking to you guys about onboarding an associate from a team member's perspective. So tune in, guys, listen up. And as always, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time on the Dental Team Podcast.
Hello, Dental Team listeners. This is Spiffy Tiffy, and you are here on the Dental Team Consultant Takeover, where, guess what? The traveling Dental Team consultants take over the mic. We take it from Kira, and we share our own tips and tricks from hundreds of offices nationwide that we've been consulting. We're so freaking jazzed to be here today, and I'm so excited. I've got my bestie here with me, Brittany. Brittany, how's it going?
Oh, it's good. I love podcast time with Tiff, especially Spiffy Tiffy.
Oh, I couldn't help it. Spiffy Tiffy, it's stuck. It's on the podcast multiple times. Kara and I recorded yesterday, and that's how I'm introduced. And I expect a jacket, like a Letterman jacket with across the back now. So
it truly is the best nickname. I hands down, and a jacket, some sort of swag specific to Spiffy Tiffy needs to happen.
I couldn't agree more. And then coming through the airports as I'm running to my gate because I'm always almost late. As we all are. Kara literally almost missed her flight home the other day from Arizona. It was bad. Like they had 20 minutes from dropping the rental car off to get to their gate before it closed, not before it boarded. It was scary. But
I think my closest call has been the last one walking on the plane. So
yeah, I didn't have to beg the flight attendant to not finish closing the door. They were like, and they're like, you're gonna be fine.
That's what it's like being on the road sometimes.
It's like that's what it's like being on the road when you're Kara and Tiffany and you basically wait as humanly long as possible. You're like, I just gotta implement one more thing.
For sure, but you make it. It's all fine. It's all good.
And you know what? If you don't make it, there's probably another flight right after that you can hop on. Luckily for me, I'm just coming to Phoenix, not little tiny Reno. So there's like 1,000 flights that I could possibly get on. So
shout out for Phoenix for sure.
Yeah. Us Arizona girls, we like it. We like it hot. It's really hot today. Yeah.
But we got some rain yesterday, so monsoon storms are a plus.
The summer storms are my faves.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. It just takes me back to childhood. It rains and it's like, yes, everybody outside, let's go.
And the desert, like the smell of a wet desert, there's no comparison.
Agreed.
But I'm not talking any more people into moving here. So guess what? It's really hot and it sucks and you're going to hate it.
Leave it to us. We're fine here on our own.
Yeah. Stay where you are. So let's get started. I think we could chat forever and I think it makes it more fun and engaging, but I mean, Kara will kill us if we don't do action items. So I think you had a fantastic idea today. You've been talking with some practices and I think this perspective is huge. Bringing on an associate, but from the team member perspective, I think that hit home for me personally because I've been the team member who had to onboard an associate. And I think oftentimes we talk with practices or doctors constantly that they want the steps for themselves, right? How do I find an associate? And then how do I onboard an associate? How do I train the team? How do I do all of these things? But it's coming through or from the doctor. And I truth be told, like you brought this today and I was like, wow, that's actually brilliant because it's not something I even thought about as a consultant to really make sure that we're honing in on from the team member perspective as we're onboarding an associate. So I think it's brilliant. Good job. Tell us a little bit about why you thought of that. Like what brought you here to that I don't know, title, whatever we want to call it.
Yeah, for sure. I love all my practices. When practices are in growth mode, which usually ends up being that they're bringing on more team members, including doctors, into the office, it's always super fun and it makes me excited. But I know from a team member perspective, especially when it's that initial, like going from your one doctor that you've known to adding on an associate doctor, it can be a little scary from a team member perspective. And I think doctors too, like they're thinking about it from doctor perspective, which is awesome. They're making sure all things are in line, fantastic. And they know and love their team. And they're like, great, it's going to be no problem. My team's going to be totally fine. And it'll be fantastic. But I have talked to some team members lately that they get a little anxious over it, right? It's someone new. It's a new doctor. They're going to be working with someone new. So I was just like, it would be fun to kind of chat about it from the team member perspective on like how I, as a team member, could take a little ownership of that and make it the best transition possible all around.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's huge. And I think the first piece that I'm really pulling out of what you're talking about there is really validating a team member or a person, like validating my own fears and or excitement over a situation. So whether it's bringing an associate on or whether it's anything under the sun, we oftentimes will go into it and think, I shouldn't feel this way. I should feel a different way. No one else feels like this, or society says I should be this way or feel this way. And so I think bringing on an associate, we think I should be excited and I should be excited to grow the company and doctors excited, but like, it's a whole new ball game. There's more team members you're bringing on when you bring on an associate. So you're not only just onboarding an associate, but you're typically onboarding at least more dental assistants, if not hygienists and front office. So there's that factor. The scheduling. I mean, we just got owner docs scheduled down and humming, and they're like, you know what, you got it. We're going to throw a curveball at you. And so now you've got this schedule, and it's like, how do you even coordinate that? How do you get patients to accept the new doctor? Like there's so many things that need to be validated. And I think I pulled that out of what you were just saying, because I don't know that we do that enough for ourselves and advocate for ourselves or for each other. Caveat to that is like, I don't use the word validate as a like wallow. we don't sit in it. Like we validate it, because if you tell yourself you're wrong or you're not doing it right, like you're failing yourself. But if you validate it and you're like, no, it's okay to feel this way. We're going to get through this. Now, what are the steps to take to get through it? That's very different than sitting there in the wallow and being like, no, this is just going to suck. This isn't going to work. Patients are going to hate it. Nobody's going to accept this person. Like those are their fears and those are the things you're thinking, but they're unrealistic in the grand scheme of things. So it's valid, but you got to work through them.
Yeah, you got to look for the way out of it, look for the solution. And ultimately, I think with this, right, your great doctor who was your go-to, like from the beginning, they're gonna pick someone good, right? Like right. They want someone who's going to be fantastic, take care of their team just as much as you want a doctor who's going to be fantastic and take care of the team. So I think like number one, just, believe the good that they're going to find someone, and they want someone who is gonna fit in with the team, gonna be great for the patients as well. And I think when that doctor is coming in to like meet the group, like they're a human being also. So like they're meeting a whole new team, just like you're meeting a new doctor. So yeah, everybody's gonna be probably a little bit nervous, and that's okay. And get to know them as that person and that human being, and you will come to love them and enjoy them. And the more you can invest in that as a team member, one, you're going to be more comfortable and confident, learn to communicate with them. You'll work through things totally fine. And as a team member, if I can work through that, build a relationship, then it's also my job to help build confidence in that doctor with our patients that I know and love forever, so they can be confident in that doctor.
Hello, Dental Team listeners. What would it take for you guys to just completely and utterly change your practice? Like truly, if you think about it, because for me, I know oftentimes it's just having somebody right by my side, pushing me along, holding me accountable, having somebody to spin ideas off of. And honestly, that's all it takes most of the time for us to go from good to great. Usually it's taking the knowledge that we learn and actually executing it. That's why I would love to invite you to join our Platinum Virtual, where we do a coaching call, a Zoom team training. We invite you to our community, and we just really dive deep with you. We're that partner right by you to help you go from good to great. So if you're wanting to join, take your practice to the next level, and you know it's time for you to implement, execute, and go to that next level, email us hello@thedentalateam.com, and I would be so excited to welcome you as our newest Platinum Virtual member. Can't wait to see you there.
I totally agree. I think that's huge. I have an office that's onboarding an associate right now. Actually, she starts finally in July is like her first date. So I think her first day is July 1st. So next Friday already. Mm-hmm. Anyways, one of the biggest things I think that we've done right with her, bringing her on, is that she's spent ample amount of time with the team. Mm-hmm. So she's been shadowing owner doctor and really learning, but she literally spent time getting to know the team, and the team knows her. So now it's like, I can give you all the verbiage under the sun. And we've been working on verbiage for months now for patients and to transition that. But the reality is they trust her and they believe in her because they know her as a human being and they trust her as a person. So they haven't even seen her work yet. She's honestly fresh out of school. Like who knows, right? She's got a great mentor, but like they trust her because of the relationship that they built. So I truly do think that's one of the things that we've done right in that situation. So from a team member perspective, it's way less scary or intimidating to recommend a provider of any sort to your patients when you know them. Even just hygiene, like think about onboarding a new hygienist and the girls are like, well, even my friends, right? I go to my friend's office and she's like, I'm putting you with so-and-so, right? Rather than she's new, or vice versa. She's like, you're going to test her for me. And I'm like, oh, great. Thanks. But even that is rough where we're like friends and family, you're getting her. Yeah. Patients, I think you'll be fine, but we really should be able to recommend all of them to everyone. And I think that human side really touches on it a ton. I love that.
Yeah. And team members be open to it, right? And invest in getting to know them. It's going to make everybody's lives so much better. Growth can be like a little intimidating for some people, but growth is ultimately exciting. And I think sometimes we confuse fear and excitement. So we can be excited for something, but we feel like it's fear, but no, it's actually excitement. So lean into the excited piece of it and get to know them. And then I think another piece for the team members, and this relates to doctors and office managers too, is make sure that we've got a plan, right? Anxiety is also often around like, oh, we're going to bring this doctor in and we have no idea what that schedule is going to look like, right? Who's going to be working with that doctor? Like, when are they actually starting? So get some of those answers. One, leadership, try to get those answers ahead of time for the team, plan it out as soon as possible so they know what's happening to minimize that anxiety for them. And team members, if it's not happening, like speak up, find a solution, let them know, hey, it's something we want. If you want, I'm happy to help with it. We can figure out a schedule, whatever it may be. But I think that's another piece, is having a set plan so team members know what's happening, and also that they know, even for hygiene exams, like what's the plan? How are we going to schedule them? Who are we going to schedule them with? Right? All those things are important to make sure that transition goes well.
I totally agree. Who's doing the exams for which hygienist? That was something we broke down too. So I want to pop back your fears and excitement. And it's like one of my favorite things in the world to talk about. It literally makes me so happy, because the day that I learned, I do a ton of manifestation, like learning, and a ton of personal development and growth and stuff. And the day that one of my coaches was like, you do realize that fear and excitement are the same feeling. They elicit the same like physical feeling in your body, and then you choose if it's good or if it's bad. So it's literally the same. So it's a stress on your body, and it's literally the same feeling. And you get to say, okay, I'm scared, or, oh, I'm excited. Like think about on a roller coaster, right? Like you're going up and you're like, oh, I'm so scared, but I'm so excited. Like you literally are so scared and you're so excited. So I love that you said that. It's one of my favorites. And I think, yes, having a plan, I think, trust your doctor. That's huge. Validate your fears and or excitement. Have time to get to know the human behind the doctor, but have a freaking plan, you guys. And coach if you don't know, or if you don't have the time. A lot of practices literally don't have the time. Here's the deal, you guys. We don't hire so that we have like extra bodies just floating around for those odd and end tasks, or like when somebody calls out sick, we're like, oh yeah, great, we've got Joanna, she's been waiting in the corner, you know, she's second string, she's been sitting on the bench waiting to be pulled in. Like, that's not reality. So work with a coach on things like this, where you don't have maybe the time or the knowledge or the capacity to get something worked out. Let us know, let someone know. There are thousands of us out there. Like, just work with someone that can help you dial that in. And I think that's it. Like, I don't feel like there's a lot more from that. I think we simplified it because it's super simple. Validate your fears, trust your doctor. I think that was huge, Brittany. Trust your doctor. If you love your doctor, you're working for your doctor, and you're like, yes, we're going to grow this practice together because I'm just so happy to stand behind you and with you. They're not gonna come bring some shady doc in. He's just gonna, like, you know, kibosh the whole thing.
They don't want to deal with that either. So
nobody wants to deal with that. And the legal ramifications that come along on their side is not worth it. So I guarantee you they're going to find the right fit. So validate your fears, trust your doctor. I want to say this, if you have underlying fears or questions about your doctor's choice, have a conversation with your doctor. You need to know the why. You need to squash those concerns before you guys start working with an associate, because that will linger, and then you're going to find ways to validate that when you're working together, and it's going to be real bad. So if you're not trusting your doctor's choice, hash it out, have a good conversation with them. Take the time to know the human behind the doctor. And owner docs, onboarding an associate, I want to just say that this is huge for your team. They've got to have a relationship with that doctor, same as they have one with you. And have a plan. How are you going to do your scheduling? Which hygienist is going to do the doctor's exams, right? Which doctor is going to do the hygienist exams? How are you splitting the day? How are you splitting the week? What days are you guys working? Are you extending hours? Like, there's so many things that go into it. Have a plan, work with a coach to help get that dialed in, and just freaking nail it, you guys. Like, it's so much fun to just be able to provide so many amazing things for your patients.
It's such an exciting time. I mean, great teams bring in great people, and more people just makes it better.
Absolutely. I love that. Oh, there's another Brittanyism. Like, put that on a card. Alrighty. That wraps up Dental A Team Podcast Consultant Takeover, guys. Let us know what you think. We love hearing from our listeners. Drop us a 5-star review. I do say 5-star because, hey, we're 5-star worthy.
Spiffy Tiffy, please.
Yeah. Spiffy Tiffy deserves 5 stars. Come on. Or also email us over at hello@thedentalateam.com. We love hearing from you guys. We do love to know what you want to hear more of. So feel free to send us your suggestions, and really, truly, thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you next time on the Dental A Team podcast.
And that wraps it up for another episode of the Dental A Team podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.